Good morning, my people. Man, I have missed you. I have missed you. I am telling you, I missed you a lot. I did. It was great to get away. It was great to have a vacation. But good Lord, I miss doing this with you. Let's get after it. Oh man, I tell you folks, it was nice to get away. It was nice to get away. Vacations, man, they just recharge me. They do. I get to hang out with people I don't normally get to hang out with. I live out in the sticks, folks. I'm truly rural. I mean, truly rural. I can country pee out here. If you don't know what country pee it is, that's where you can walk out on your back porch and just let it fly. I can walk out on my front porch and let it fly. People won't see. But yeah, it is rural out here, and I love getting out to meet people and talk to people. We took a week-long trip. We had a vacation that we ended up having to cancel, so we had to put something together last minute. And I got to tell you, if you want an easy vacation, take a cruise. Take a cruise, folks. We found a great deal on a cruise through Carnival. I love sailing with Carnival. I do. I look, elegance is great. It is. Quiet is great. It is. But if I wanted to hang out in an old folks home, which I love old folks, I do. But if I wanted to hang out in an old folks home, I could do that here. I like Carnival cruises because there are tons of young people on them, and you get to see things you just don't get to see on other cruises. You get to see an 80-year-old person out there doing the wobble, man. I mean, I'm telling you, I like Carnival cruises, and they look like America. They do. It is not just a bunch of stuffy old white people. It isn't. It looks like America. And there are some other great cruises. Don't get me wrong. There are other great cruise lines. There are, and point of disclosure, I'm a Carnival shareholder. I am. When we were hunting for deals back during COVID, when stock prices were tanking because everything was shut down, that's when you take money out of your savings and you put it in the stock market. You buy the dip when stock market is low. Carnival's one of the ones we bought. So because we knew, Carnival's cruising, folks. Let me tell you something. If you're like your average American, you ain't got a ton of money in the bank, and you want a vacation that is easy, take a cruise. Your food's prepared for you. Your hotel goes with you. Your entertainment's right there. Casinos are there if you like to gamble. Whatever, you can't. You're not going to get drunk and get in trouble somewhere in a foreign country because you're right there on the boat. Lord knows I got lit watching the playoffs. They had the playoffs pumped in. It's a good time. You need to check it out. Go have yourself a cruise. This is the Jubilee. This is their new XL class boat. This boat's only been on 6 cruises, man. It was brand new. I got some photos I brought back for you. We'll talk about that after we get through with the politics and whatnot. But just want to remind you folks that February 8th is when the Supreme Court hears the challenges. You remember Colorado kicked Donald Trump off the ballot. February 8th, that is coming up just right around the corner. That's 4 days from now, folks. That's this week. The Supreme Court will actually hear arguments on whether Donald Trump can be disqualified from the docket. Be prepared for that. I have told folks, and I don't mean to be like a wet towel on this, because I believe he can be disqualified from the docket. I do. I think it's the right thing to do. I do. He's an insurrectionist, and by our Constitution, which I believe in and follow, he should be kicked off the ballot. But I do believe that the challenge that what he is running for now, the primaries, does not qualify as an office. It doesn't qualify under the Constitution. He's running to be a candidate for a party right now. And I think that's a loophole that the Supreme Court's going to use. They're going to make him go through the process again, which, Colorado, you need to do it again. You need to do it again. Let him become the candidate, then kick him off the ballot. That's what you need to do. And speaking of Colorado, we have a great week coming up for you. We got an amazing week coming up for you. Wednesday, we have Ike McCorkle coming on the show. He's the guy that I believe in March 5th is the Colorado primary. I believe I got that date right. I'm a little slow coming back. March 5th is the Colorado primary. I believe he is the candidate that is going to step forward for the Democratic Party. He will secure the nomination. He is going to be running against Bobo in the 4th district. Ike McCorkle, he is a badass. He is a badass. He is a Marine, enough said. He served our country. He's intelligent. He is smart. He is a serious man. He will be running against Bobo. We're going to have him on Wednesday to talk about it. That's going to be a great show. Friday, we've got Dr. Rachel Bitecofer coming on. I love Rachel Bitecofer. I do. I do. She is a think out the box kind of person. She looks at politics a little differently than your average political, you get these political scientists and they look at things and they just, all they do is they're like, they bleed out the same thing. Policies, the same ideas over and over and over again. We're going to get Dr. Rachel Bitecofer in here. She's one of the people that talked about there really isn't such a thing as a swing voter movement. I mean, that's like the rarest unicorn there is. There are Democratic voters that can be activated. There are Republican voters that can be activated, but the actual number of swing voters that can be activated are extremely rare. And she's got a new book coming out. We're going to talk about the 2024 election. It's going to be a great conversation. So be here Friday for that. That is going to be a lot of fun with Dr. Rachel Bitecofer. Should be a good show. Should be a really good show. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. I do. I have missed my coffee. I missed my coffee pot. I did. Cruise coffee ain't bad. It ain't bad because it's nice, especially, man, on the Jubilee. That is a beautiful boat, folks. If you've taken a Carnival cruise before, check out the Jubilee. You'll love it. You will love it. There's a lot of the old folks that we've seen on. We take a lot of cruises. We do. That's what we did. We've always done. We like to go places and spend time there, traditional vacations where you just pack up the car and go somewhere or fly somewhere. But I got to tell you, cruising is we've done a lot of it. So there are people that we recognize on these cruises. We've been on enough of them. We see each other. A lot of the older folks are like, well, I don't like the big boats like I did the small boats and this, that, and the other. Not me. I love the big boats. I do. I love them. But got to do a quick commercial, couple quick commercials. Unsolicited, unpaid for some commercials, folks. One is for Aldi because libs of TikTok and the right wing have decided to attack Aldi. I don't know. Do you have an Aldi's where you are at? Do you have Aldi's where you folks are at in the chat? Do y'all have Aldi's? They were great. They were the first new thing that we've gotten around here out in this region as far as something new in the grocery store field in forever. Love Aldi's. It is the opposite of Walmart. It is a very small, focused on things. And by the way, if you like Braunschweiger liverwurst, best you can get. Not even hands down, best you can get. They sell it little tube about that big. Get you some crackers. That's where I love to get my Braunschweiger from. But yeah, libs of TikTok has attacked Aldi, and it is spreading like wildfire all over the right wing. And it's turned out to be the best commercial Aldi's could ever ask for. Here, libs of TikTok. If you don't know who libs of TikTok is, it's some idiotic woman by the name of Rychek runs this account. She all she does is play into white victimhood all the time. And that's what this is all about, because Aldi's has partnered up with an organization called Jobs for Humanity. And we've talked about DEI before and what DEI is. On the right, they've told everybody, you're a victim. DEI is just another way to victimize you. It's giving your jobs away to them colored folks. It's the typical racist tropes about DEI. And what DEI actually is companies have figured out there are qualified candidates. Mark Cuban spoke eloquently about this. There are qualified candidates in every group. We're letting qualified candidates go because we are not actively recruiting from these groups. So let's get into these groups. Let's let them know that these jobs are available, and hey, we'll consider you for this job. That's what DEI is. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? I mean, you want the best candidates. So why would you just focus on straight white guys? Which is, it boils down to this, folks. If you've never been held accountable, accountability feels like like you're being victimized. It does. If you've never been held accountable, it feels like you're being victimized. If you've always had a seat at the table, as a straight white guy, I never thought twice about applying for any job. I applied for jobs I wasn't even qualified for. Never once did it ever consider not that there was a job out there that wasn't for me, except for, maybe surgery, things like that required severe specialization. But yeah, we've always had a seat at the table. So when someone else tries to get a seat at the table, to these folks, it feels like victimization. Oh, they're not biased against white folks. You've already got a seat at the table. What we're trying to do as a company, Aldi's as a company, and as this organization, Jobs for Humanity, is trying to do is help people that are underrepresented in the job market. And let me read what libs of TikTok. This is why this is the greatest self-own ever. It's a national procurement specialist is this particular job, national procurement specialist. The Jobs for Humanity posting says about the job, company description. Jobs for Humanity is partnering with Aldi to build an inclusive and just employment ecosystem. That's their mission. That's what they do. Therefore, we prioritize individuals coming from the following communities: refugee, neurodivergent. We're going to talk about that group specifically after this. Neurodivergent. Remember that. Single parents, blind or low vision, deaf or hard of hearing. That hits home because I'm deaf. Black, Hispanic, Asian, military veterans are actually underrepresented in the employment process. They represent military, this evil group that is victimizing white men on the right. Military veterans, the elderly, the LGBTQ, and justice impacted individuals. That would be people that have records They have a hard time getting a job. That's why recidivism is so high. Okay, let's talk about neurodivergent for a minute. Well, first, let me read to you Aldi's posting on this, on diversity, equity, and inclusion at Aldi. Diversity strengthens us. It does. That's just a matter of fact. It's just a matter of fact. Diversity makes us stronger. When you can pull the best candidates from every group, you got a better group, period. Diversity strengthens us. Our goal is to build a space where everyone who walks through our doors feels welcome. That means upholding our guiding principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and enacting change that lasts in our communities. Through this commitment, we celebrate both employees and customers who bring different backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences from all walks of life. If you are a straight white guy, especially one that doesn't have a lot of skills to sell, that feels like you're getting put upon. It does. It feels like, oh man, they're representing everybody but me. Dude, you got a seat at the table. You've got a seat at the table. These people traditionally do not. If you are gay and walk into a business, there are a lot of businesses that would be like, thanks for the application, drop it in the trash. That really happens. That's reality. There aren't a lot of businesses that straight guy walks in, says, here's my job application. They say, thanks, drop it in the trash. That doesn't happen. So yeah, these folks are literally screaming, one, that this is illegal. It's not illegal. And two, that it somehow victimizes them. Let me say it again to my fellow white guys. Dude, you have a seat at the table already. You're good. You don't need Jobs for Humanity to represent you, because nobody takes your application unless you've got a freaking neck tattoo and just drops it in the trash. That be the facts. So here's what neurodivergent means. And this is the people that these idiots believe are being, this is racism. This is racism. Elon Musk chimed in on this. This is racism. Racism against whites is still racism. Dude, this is neurodivergent. These are the people that they are representing. Let me pull this up for you. This was a great... Neurodivergent is a new term you're going to hear more and more and more. Neurodivergent umbrella. What falls under neurodivergent? ADHD, ASPD, DID, OSDO, BPD, NPD, dyslexia, CPTSD, dyspraxia, sensory processing disorder, dyscalculia. Say that fast 3 times straight. Dyscalculia. That one was fascinating to me. I was like, I didn't know that one. I had to look that one up. That is somebody that has a difficult time processing math the way we process math. That's a thing. Their brains don't work that way. The other one was dysgraphia. Now, I knew about that one. That is amazing to me. That there are people, when their brains wire up, the process of processing language, they can do language, no problem. They can learn multiple languages, no problem. They can't write it down. The process of converting language from auditory to written, there's a break in the chain somewhere in the way their brains are wired. So if you see somebody with dysgraphia, they will write sometimes partially in cursive, partially in print. The spacing will be wrong in the things that they write. They'll all be jammed together, or the huge spaces in between the words. Their mind does not function that way, and they never can learn it. But they are a fully functioning individual. I mean, you can sit and you can sit at a cash register in an Aldi's And you can talk to people and you can process things out if you have dyscalculia. Not a problem. There are jobs out there for you. This organization works to get these people a seat at the table, because imagine the challenge of applying for a job against a straight white guy that doesn't have dyscalculia or dysgraphia. The challenge, right? Great organization. Glad to see it. Glad to see Aldi's, by the way. If you don't shop at Aldi's, give it a shot. Good people, obviously. Bipolar disorder, autism, epilepsy, OCD, ABI, TIC disorders, schizophrenia, misophonia, HPD, Down syndrome, synthesia. Not an all-inclusive list, but you get the idea. This is who the racists of TikTok, or pardon me, the libs of TikTok are threatened by, who they think it is illegal for a company to actively recruit from. Oh my God. You know, there was a time when this was novel, when this kind of argument was novel, and your average racist that felt like he was just picked on would make these arguments, and there weren't good rebuttals for it because it's arguments that we didn't really have a lot. But this is tired, folks. This is really freaking tired. And it's playing to a smaller and smaller group, but it always plays, because you're going to get people that just, they feel like victims. They do. They feel like victims. There are a lot of white folks out there that go through life and face the challenges. We all have these challenges. We do. And then they take it in their heads. They're like, oh, my life has challenges. And they cannot see, all they can see are the challenges. They cannot see privilege. They don't understand that when they get pulled over, that lack of fear they have, that they're just frustrated. Mate, can I talk my way out of this ticket, man? Oh shit, this is going to cost me some money I don't have. They're not in fear for their lives. They're not. You can tell there's video after video after video of white people running their mouths to cops. Happens all the time. Black folks, not so much. Mexican folks, not so much. Hispanics, not so much. Asians, not so much. You know, I mean, it's just reality. It's the way it is. We're trying to change that. And Aldi's is doing a great job. They are. Free commercial for Aldi's. Because they're just saying, look, let's go out and let's just find the best people, which is what I want. You know why? Because I shop at freaking Aldi's, man. And I really don't give a damn what your background is. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're Asian, black. I don't care if you have, if you're neurodivergent, as long as you're neurodivergent. Now, if you're at the cash register and you have dyscalculia, perhaps not the best job for you. Okay. But that's not what Aldi's doing. They are looking for the best candidates. A lot of companies are, folks. A lot of companies are. But you're going to hear from the right wing about how DEI, that this is their new thing. They thought they ran with the CRT thing that nobody understood what it is. They think DEI is their new CRT, and how that's racism against whites. Elon Musk, of all people, Mr. South African Emerald Mine Trust Fund baby, came out about how this is racism against whites. It is. It's ridiculousness. It's ridiculousness, folks. Good job, Aldi's. I'm glad to see you doing it. Free plug from old Texas Paul. Other news that is going on today. Tucker Carlson is in Moscow. Has been. Was at the Bolshoi yesterday. Oh man, I tell you what, I wonder what old Elon Musk or pardon me, Tucker Carlson's doing in Moscow. You know, was the one that went to Hungary right before they held CPAC in Hungary. I wonder if they're going to hold CPAC in Moscow now. I don't know. But what do you think old Tucker Carlson's doing in Moscow? What do you think Tucker Carlson is doing in Moscow? Thanks for the support, Sherry. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. What do you think Tucker Carlson is doing in Moscow? Well, I tell you, the entire right wing is just on fire about it. They don't even hide it. They don't even hide it at all. They're Candace Owens is having an absolute blast about this. She thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Jack Posobiec is having here. I think I even have Jack's post there. There you go. Alexander Vindman had a great response to it. I love his wife, Rachel. I met Rachel at a White House function. She's great. If you don't follow Alexander Vindman and Rachel Vindman, you're really, really missing out. You are. But I love Alexander Vindman's response to this. He says, Tucker Carlson is aiding and abetting the enemy, the same enemy that threatens us with nuclear weapons, interferes in our elections, and allies with Iran, North Korea, and Hamas. This is who Tucker courts, because you know he is there and he is going to give the most BS crap interview to all of these Russians. I mean, that's his job. That's what he does. Is he keeps telling these right wingers, it's okay that you're a traitor. It's okay. It's okay that you're a traitor because you're not a Democrat. And you're better to be a traitor than a Democrat. Yeah. I mean, these people say this crap out loud to each other. They do. They think it's okay in this environment with everything that's going on in the Middle East, with our soldiers getting killed in Jordan by groups funded by Iran and which is supported by Russia, that it's okay to go to the Bolshoi with the Russians. Yeah, that ain't okay. That's not okay. It's not okay. You know, we're trying to stop World War III from breaking out across Europe. Ukrainians are dying by the tens of thousands fighting a war so we don't have to. A war against Russian aggression, against the Russians trying to exert their power like the old Soviet Union across Europe. And right-wingers all across, not just Tucker Carlson. I mean, they are all super, super stoked, super excited about him going to Russia. Screw those people. You're a bunch of freaking traitors. You are. You're a bunch of damn traitors. And I'm done with you. I am tired of this. We need to end the Republican Party. We do. And every time I say that, and Stephen Sayers absolutely right, Slava Ukraini. They're traitors. They're trash. And we need to end them. We do. Every time I say that, I automatically, you want to be a dictator. You just want one party. You just want, man, they were saying that all over social media. When I got back and I was catching up with everything that was going on, oh, the Democrats just wanted one party rule. No, they don't. You show me one person in the chat or in this chair doing this show that wants one party rule. No, we don't. We just want a real opposition party. Not traitors, not people selling our country out to frickin' terrorists. Russians are terrorists. The Russian government, they are terrorists. They fund terrorism all across the globe and every continent. No, Republicans need to go, because until they go, there won't be room for a real opposition party, which is what we need, because we Democrats are our best selves, not when we just have free reign, because we go too far. We do. We're human beings. We go too far. We end up with too much of a far left ideology is just as bad as too much of a far right ideology. So we want that counterbalance. We like democracy. That's what we are. So yeah, Tucker Carlson's in Moscow, and man, I tell you what, the right wing are just jerking off to it. That's who we're dealing with, folks. This is why you have to vote. And this is a great segue to what happened in South Carolina. We've got news coming out of South Carolina. Joe Biden, I think I've got a live feed up here. Let me see if I can find it, of the vote totals coming out of South Carolina. I checked it just before the show. I hope I didn't close it. No, I did not. The counter is at 126,000 votes processed, 96.2% for Joe Biden. Joe Biden absolutely demolished the nonsense about how we are a fractured party and that there's going to be a third party insurgency and that we're not all behind Joe Biden. Just absolutely demolished that in South Carolina yesterday. No other candidate. I mean, I want you to imagine this, folks. I want you to imagine for 1 second. You are a right-wing billionaire, and you have been funding all of these. First you were going to fund RFK, then you were going to fund Dean, and then you were going to fund Dean Phillips, then you were going to fund Marianne Williamson. You're going to just fund anybody and everybody. You got your people that are supposed to show up and be spoilers to show how weak Joe Biden is, and nobody got over 2%. They just, right, I think Marianne Williamson got right at 2%. Joe Biden absolutely demolished everybody. Of course, the corporate media's response to this is Joe Biden absolutely has an incredible showing in South Carolina, and this is why this is bad for Joe Biden. The corporate media is focused on, turnout was low. Well, yeah, turnout was low. It's basically an unopposed primary. Same thing we had in 2012 when President Obama was the presumptive nominee. Those aren't big turnouts. They never are. You know this, but you're not going to tell people that. You're not going to tell people that. No, you're going to tell them, oh, this is scary. A lot of people didn't show up. Oh, is Biden in trouble? I mean, he only won 96% of the vote. Is he in trouble? Folks, the reason you're getting those stories out of the corporate media, there are actually 16 billion reasons why you're getting this story out of the corporate media. They know that when you have a presumptive nominee, turnout's never that high. It just isn't. That's the way politics works. I'll confirm that with Dr. Rachel Bidikofer on Friday for you if you wanted to have someone else tell you that. Whenever you have a presumptive nominee, not a lot of people show up. Just the way it works. It is. It's just politics, folks. A lot of people don't feel like they have to show up because we've got our nominee. But they've got to make it seem like a horse race. They do. They've got to make it seem like a horse race. They've got to keep you scared, man. And that's what's so disgusting about news these days. This is why I work with Midas. This is why I work with Midas Touch so much. These guys are great because There is $16 billion on the line for them this election cycle. That's what they expect people to spend. And the majority of it will go to advertising with the major network. If it's not a horse race, if it is what is really happening, where you have a deeply flawed candidate in Donald Trump that's completely unacceptable, even to Republicans, he is not going to garner Republican support. He's just not. I'll get more into that. We'll talk about the border here in a minute. You'll see why. Yes, he's going to have some support. He is. But he's deeply flawed. Even Republicans don't want him to be president. They see this fascism bullshit. They do. I mean, but the Republicans will constantly, or pardon me, the corporate media will constantly try to make it look like it's a horse race. They had Biden polling at 60% going into this. That's what they were telling people going into, oh, yeah, he's only going to get about 60% of the vote. And he destroyed that narrative. Oh, man, there's going to be a recession. They're going to be a recession, man. There's just going to be a recession. They have to sandbag Biden, because the reality is you got a guy that's doing a great freaking job that doesn't make it all about him. He doesn't run to a camera every day and say, I'm Joe Biden. I'm incredible. I'm incredible. You couldn't do this without me, man. It's all me. He doesn't do that. Remember that from the Trump days? Every damn day that ugly son of a bitch had to be in front of a camera. Every damn thing that happened. Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm amazing. I did this. If it wasn't for me, it couldn't happen. Every damn day. Joe Biden just puts his head down and does a damn job. And if the corporate media actually reflects what's going on in this country, what's going on in this campaign, they don't get their money, folks. They don't get their money. I agree with you 100%, Barbara Lincoln. That's why Midas is growing the way it is. That's why our show is growing the way it is. We need more independent media. Absolutely. That's why I do this. Because I see so many BS narratives out there, and I just live to rip them apart. I just live to say, okay, this is reality, folks. This is what's really going on. So let me tell you what happens to that money in this next election cycle. If it's not a horse race, if they don't constantly scare them, which I'm okay with them scaring Democrats. Scared people vote. Sure, scare the shit out of Democrats. If they would just tell you the reasons to be scared, that Republicans are actually planning fascism, they actually ignore the Constitution. Look at the border. Completely ignore the Constitution because, suits their purposes. Why not? Just ignore the Constitution. We'll get into more on that in a minute. But those, I tell you all the time about the billionaire Republican right-wing frat boy club that funds awful things. They fund the frickin' caravans. Quiet, Captain Bart Roberts, quiet competence at government is wildly underrated. It is. It is, man. And you know what? People don't vote for it. They don't. People don't vote to say thank you. This is a proven, established fact. Just like the sky is blue and grass is green, people don't vote to say thank you. You can do the best job in the world. People vote to say fuck you. Yeah, that's what people vote for. And fortunately, the Republicans are awful enough that all we have to do is put their words up and the things they do and say, this is your choice. You got quiet competence over here, getting the job done, versus this, the 2025 project, where they say they're going to gut our government, gut our institutions. They've already taken, ladies, you're already second-class citizens at this point. Bunch of straight old white guys tell you what Medicare you can get, medical care you can get, and what medical care you cannot. Literally sending women home with fetuses dying and dead in their bodies, but because the women are not in acute medical trauma, you can't get the health care that you could just a couple years ago. That's the Republican Party. That's who they are. These facts are undisputed. But why the corporate media will never come out and just say these things to you? Because it tips the scales, folks. It makes it not a horse race. It makes it not a horse race. And if it's not a horse race, you can't convince a guy in the billionaire frat boy club to spend money at your network. They're not going to just throw the money away. They have to be able to try to buy something with that money. Something, if they're not going to get a Republican, if there's not a chance to get a Republican in office with their money, why spend it? Because nobody else is going to give us them tax breaks, man. Nobody else is going to let us, just pollute. Nobody else is going to, just blatantly, obviously, 100% rule in our favor all the time, except for the Republicans. So why would we spend that money if that's not something we can get? If it's not a horse race, why would we dump money into this presidential contest? No, what they'll do is they'll take that money and they'll go down ballot. They'll find individuals in individual states and they'll spend money with local affiliates, which doesn't filter up to the networks like money spent directly at the networks does. It just doesn't. And that's the fact of it, folks. That is your news for the next year. It is organizations protecting their bottom line. They need this money. And they're going to get it. And if they've got to sandbag Biden and make Trump appear inevitable, risk our country, screw down ballot races, because, a lot of it's coattails, people. A lot of it is coattails. People walk into that booth to vote Democrat, they will vote Democrat all the way down. They will make molehills into mountains. They'll do that. For $16 billion, they'll do that. Absolutely. There is no patriotism when you're waiting on that check, man. They're not going to just do the right thing for the American people. And I'll give you a perfect example of it, and that's down at the border. Midas Touch, I mentioned them a couple of times during the show. They're on the front of my mind. They've got a great article. While I was on vacation, we had a convoy show up. They were hoping it was going to be another one of those trucker convoys going to DC and all that stupid crap that happened earlier. It was a spectacle. It was a pathetic joke. They had like 100 vehicles show up down at the border, and most of them were the same grifters. This was put together. There's a couple of religious fanatics that put this stuff together, but this is the article from Midas. I recommend go to MidasTouch.com and read about it. Let me play this video for you off of it. This kind of sums it up. Here we go.
I've been talking to these folks who have come from all over Texas, even other parts of the country, to be here. And some of them, even though we are about a half hour from Eagle Pass, have driven down to Eagle Pass to try to actually see what's happening.
That's an important point we're going to get into in a minute. This is not down where Abbott has his razor wire in that one little park. It is not. They had this party away from the border, and they had it away from the border for a reason.
The border. And I've spoken to a number of people who said that they're a little surprised by what they're seeing here. I want to play a conversation with a woman, Misty. Take a listen.
It's pretty surreal. We actually made it into Eagle Pass and we went and saw Shelby Park. I was able to see some people actually trying to cross and stopped at the wire there. So it was it's very eye-opening.
And tell me more about eye-opening. Is it what you expected? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's not what I expected, but then again, I don't know what I expected. I can tell you it's not as bad.
She knows what she expected. She does. She knows what she expected, and she didn't see what she expected. And she's trying in her mind to process why she wasn't lied to, which I have been telling you for weeks. They are flat out lying about what's happening at the southern border.
That is what I thought. So that's kind of eye-opening in itself too. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as what I thought. So yeah, that was a little eye-opening. I don't really know what to tell you about that. I haven't figured out why I can still tell you Biden's bad, and that the people that brought me all the way down here from Kansas didn't actually honestly represent what was going on down here. I can't come up with a good talking point for that yet. So yeah, we're just going to leave it as it's eye-opening. It's eye-opening. Yeah, John Edinger, good point. He says the media needs a racehorse just for one night. That's bleeping ridiculous. I stopped watching news. Yeah, exactly, John. I'm telling you, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it, man. They're gonna sandbag Biden because he's doing an amazing job. They're gonna make mountains out of molehills, like this border stuff. You know what this is? There are grift. Every one of these things is a grift. It is a grift. There's a bunch of religious nutters that jump in on these, and these guys, they couldn't have this down at the border. You want to know why? Because Alejandro Mayorkas went to Mexico City in December and had a meeting with President Obrador. He and Anthony Blinken, back in December, did their jobs. They did their jobs. And they went down and they had a meeting with President Obrador. And they discussed border security and the reality of what's going on down there. And in one meeting, Alejandro Mayorkas got more done down at the border than my idiot Governor Abbott has gotten done wasting $8 billion of Texas tax money. Folks, crossings at the border have plummeted by more than half after that meeting. The Mexicans have stepped up with security on their side of the border, which we cannot control. And let me say that again. Crossings in the weeks following that meeting at the end of December have plummeted by half. There was never a crisis. There was always just a problem to fix. There's still a problem to fix that the Republicans will not work on because they think that they can hide this fact and ride this all the way to the presidency because racists, because a huge percentage of the Republican Party are A, stupid, and B, racist. They think they can keep riding this. And they know it. You want to know how? You want testimony to the fact that they know it? That lady, those folks are not at the border. The caravan that went to the border, they're not at the border. They're having to leave there. They're having to drive 30 miles to the border to Shelby Park, where all this spectacle that my governor has been wasting money on, to go take a look at it, and they're disappointed when they see it because it's not what's been portrayed to them. So yeah, come to the border, folks. Let's take a look. Republicans are like, oh, no, don't do that. They want to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. Well, he's just refusing to do his job. He did his job. He went down. He and Anthony Blinken met with President Obrador. Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador. You get a lot of names from Mexico. You do. They sat down with their counterparts and did their jobs, man. It's not sexy. It's not as sexy as butchering people. It's not as sexy as razor wire. You know, you get Governor Christie Nome in South Dakota. Oh, well, we're going to send truckloads of that razor wire. Really? Because I can tell you, folks, one meeting did more than all your razor wire. And yes, I said sexy, Stargal. It ain't sexy to us, but to a bunch of racist right-wingers, you better believe hurting people is sexy to them. They love it. Yes, they are sadists, Super Saint. They are sadists. They love hurting people. They love hurting their fellow Americans. They love hurting people from other countries. They do. I don't know what freaking inner pain they're dealing with that I don't know what it is inside them. You know, yeah, I guess you're right. It's a power trip. They think that there's some sort of thing. I mean, you tell me this woman right here, what is her freaking deal? I hope I kept this image up, because I shared this earlier before I went on the cruise. I shared this when this first broke out. Look at this woman. What the hell? Holding twins, two little babies, and you got an AR-15 hanging off your back. That damn sure ain't freaking gun safety. What is her malfunction, people? That she drags her babies down to the border carrying an AR-15. What is her malfunction? I can't meet with her to understand, because this makes no sense to me. It's damn sure not gun safety. It's not about the Second Amendment. It's not about, even patriotism. I mean, I don't even know if it's patriotism, because it's nothing about what's patriotic about that. I mean, that is some Somalia looking shit if I've ever seen it. You're right. It's a power trip. My question is, why? What is it with these people? Because it's not power over us. Okay, you bought an AR-15 and you're still an idiot and you're still uninformed. Now what? You don't impress me much. Now what? Somebody tell me. Now what? Well, I'll tell you what I'll tell you one thing they're doing is they have turned this into a revival meeting. I know you people hate when I attack the churches, but damn it, it's a grift. It is a grift. Two of the major organizers for this, we're going to go down to the border thing, are churches. They're churches. So what did they do? They had big old revival meeting way off the border where they couldn't meet people. This is what they're doing. I'm not even kidding. Watch this shit. This is from NTD.com live TV. Ronald Filipkowski, the editor-in-chief over at Midas, shared this. I hope I don't get a ding because I accidentally played the music. This is what they're doing down there, folks. This is what they're doing. And let me tell you about these grifters. You've seen this before. These cattle, I don't know, I hope I remember to share that because I just deleted it. It's one of those cattle cattle trough baptisms. You know, you see those all over the place, something about country and Christianity all blended into one if you do the baptism in a horse trough. The recommended tithe that these people have is $500. I wish I was making that up. The recommended tithe, they can't tell you the fee is. So the recommended tithe for getting dunked in a horse trough by one of these ministers there is $500. It's a grift. It's a grift. It's a grift. It's all a grift. It's all a grift. Always. Always. They appeal to the worst in these people. The worst racism, the worst hate, the worst stupidity. They lie to them. They're all disappointed when they show up down at the border because it's not anything that they expected. They were told that there are armies and legions of brown people full of criminals wanting to come across the border and murder them with fentanyl. And then they get to the border and it's just a couple people coming across that want a damn job, man. Want a little better life. They want to chase that American dream on American soil. They're fleeing fascist dictators to come here. That's it, folks. That's it. You just take the worst of these people, you wrap it in God, and tell these people they're superior to all of us, and they're the only people protecting the country. They're saving us. And these people eat it up, man. They're that arrogant. They're that arrogant. That woman carrying those babies believes she's doing something, when really the only person doing something is Anthony Blinken and Alejandro Mayorkas, who went down to Mexico City and said, look, crossings are up. We got to do something. There's always going to be, we know there's always going to be illegal immigration, but crossings are up. Let's do something about that. The Mexicans said, you know what? You're right. We need to get a handle on this. It's becoming a problem. We will start, enforcing this all the way from the southern Yucatan and then all of a sudden, boom, crossings are down by half. The job, the unsexy job, the making the sausage that nobody wants to watch. Democrats are out doing it. Republicans, on the other hand, my idiotic, fool, lying piece of crap, sorry, trash governor, has wasted $8 billion of our tax money to try to be as cruel as possible to claim that they are doing something. And this is why I said they don't love the Constitution. This is an issue of international immigration. These people are trying to immigrate from one country to another. What the hell does the state of Texas have to do with that? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Just because your state happens to be where they're trying to cross does not mean you suddenly get a seat at the table. The Constitution is very clear on that. This is a federal issue. Gregory Knuppin said, the situation has neither the feds nor the state vids. I call BS. I wrote to the reporter covering the Texas Tribune about any FOIA. I got crickets. I don't know what that means, Gregory. Write that again. I don't know what that means exactly. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, but I don't know what that means. Folks, this is a federal issue. And this is what I mean by they don't love the Constitution. They don't. They claim the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution. We have to protect the Constitution. Thanks for the support, Gina Lawton. I really appreciate you. I really do. Thank you. But they don't. The Constitution is very clear on this. The federal government handles immigration. The federal government is far more effective at it, obviously. They cut immigration by half with one meeting. Illegal immigration by half with one meeting. It's fallen so much that they've actually been able to reopen ports to allow people to cross back and forth just to, that's always been the case, that Mexicans could come here, we could go there. They closed those ports down for a few weeks because illegal immigration got to be too high. And then they just dealt with it like the problem it is. We Democrats, I've said this before. What do we want to do down at the border? We want modern technology to deal with a modern problem. Beef up our consulates, speed up the process, utilize technology to speed up the process. I don't know, instead of like courts that get jam-packed, let's have video conferencing for some of these, check-in meetings that these courts have. I mean, utilize technology, speed the process up, make it more efficient, weed out the people we don't want, utilize bioindicators so that we can rule people out, thumbprints, retinal scans. Once you have that in place with a criminal, they can never get back in, because every time they try to come back in or they get arrested, they get a thumbprint and retinal scan, and you can identify them. Satellites. You want to talk about the least form of immigration, the one that they use the boogeyman the most, that people understand the least, is people crossing in the deserts. It's the stuff they make the movies out of. That is the smallest part of the problem, but hey, we'll talk about that. Satellites. That works. That works. Satellite imagery works. You know what doesn't work? Walls. Walls don't work. They're stupid. They're dumb. Asborn Knutson says, I'm going to the border to prevent the bad people from coming here to earn enough to buy one of them a washing machine. Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Mr. Knutson here, he's got a real border issue. He's got Russians to deal with. And you think we got a border issue? We do not. Mr. Knutson has a border issue. Jackie, thanks for the support. Thank you for the support. And yes, churches need to be audited. They do. This is all a grift, folks. I just want to sum this up with this. This is all a grift. Hey, another one of our, I love when I get those donations in kroner. I do. Torben Loon Peterson, I appreciate you, my friend. I really do. Thank you. Another one of our European audience, growing more by the day. I'm glad to be in. Yes, Boy for Love, you all got played. You did. Folks, this is about grifters that are perennial right-wing grifters that deal with the stupidest of the stupid. They're the ones that get up and do this. They're the QAnon people that show up at Trump's rallies. Trump's rallies are full of QAnon people. These are the dumbest of the dumb. These are the ones you can fleece for a lot of money. Folks, let me tell you something, but with this face, blue eyes, blonde hair, let me tell you, this accent, I could fleece those people left and right if that's what I was wanting to do. I could sell you some bullshit and take your money. I could, you right-wingers, But that's not patriotism. That's theft. That's what these people are that put these right-wing things together. They're thieves. Stephen Sayre says, appreciate you, Texas Paul. Talk the truth, dispatch MAGA. That's the goal, my friend. That's the goal. I don't tell you things that are pie in the sky bullshit. We're going to have a real estate bubble burst here in the next year. Prepare for that. We are. Real estate's too damn expensive. It can't be supported. There's a lot of corporations that have huge inventories of unsold real estate. That's how these bubbles burst. You know what I mean? I come here to tell you things that you can use, that you can do, that are real for your life, man. This isn't a grift. These right-wingers, every time you see one of these things, man, it is a grift. It is a con. Donald Trump is one big con. That's all he is. He's just there to separate idiots from their money. And he's figured out that there was enough of these idiots that he just might be able to become a dictator, which is the ultimate grift. I appreciate all the support. I do. It's from, if I haven't clicked on yours, I apologize. And something else I'd like to apologize. We got a lot of orders while we were out of town for the mugs, and we are filling those as quick as humanly possible. We got a few days behind on those. Those will be coming out immediately. But yeah, that's what the border. Just to sum it up, they're running into reality, folks. This whole border issue is dying on them. They're going to get away from that. Legislatively, they thought that they could push this off. That was so blatant. They thought they couldn't they could prevent Biden from having. Nels came out and said, Congressman Nels came out and said that. Why would we vote on a border bill? That'll just give Biden a win. Why would we give him a win? He's hemorrhaging over this. Well, guess what? Next few weeks, more people are going to see that this trucker convoy bullshit and everything that was going down on the border was fabricated bullshit. The more people that go down there, they see it's nonsense. They're going to be screaming for that border bill. They're going to want that money. And we need to make them pay for it. Right now you've got Preacher Johnson's trying to play this game of separating out. Support for Israel is going to be a standalone bill in the House because he's daring Democrats to vote it down because they want to be able to take to Jewish voters, see, Democrats don't support Israel. They need to vote it down anyways. You know me, I stand with Israel. I am a huge supporter of Israel. Vote that bill down. This is democracy. Part of democracy is making the sausage. You make deals. And part of the deals for the support for Israel, do to them what they have been doing to us. You want that funding for Israel? You give us something. You want funding for Israel? We want funding for Ukraine. Let's make a deal. You want your border funding? Cool. Raise the debt limit. That's democracy. Everybody eats a bit of a shit burger. Everybody takes something that they don't want. Nobody walks away from the table a complete winner. Vote that clean Israel funding bill down. And don't be afraid of it, because I will sit here at this microphone and I will blast out to the world that, yes, we support Israel. Yes, Israel is our ally, but this is how democracy works, and this is how we're going to make it happen. We voted that bill down because it's nothing but a political tactic, just like killing the border funding bill. The border security bill was a tactic by the Republicans. They thought that they could run on this whole border crap, which is just imploding on them right now. Don't give it back to them. Don't give it back to them. It is a democracy. Democracies are negotiations. I'll say it again. Everybody eats a bit of a shit burger at the table. Everybody walks away with a little bit of what they want. And that's what makes democracy so freaking great, because it prevents radicalism. Nobody gets to do everything of what they want. And I will guarantee you, ask the people in chat. Ask the people in chat if they're for that. Yeah, you folks have your own ideologies. Yeah, you have all the things that you want. But they get it. They know how democracy works. It's give and take. You make deals. That's how it works. And they also know that if we vote enough Democrats into office, that we don't have to make those deals. Something's going to have to come up to be a check on us. No, we're not dictators. No, we don't want one party rule. We have our ideologies. We love our country. We want to do what's right for the country. We love democracy. Even if we don't agree with the people sitting across the table from us, we love democracy. And the Republicans ain't it, man. The second they started losing instead of changing and adapting, they said, oh no, we'll be fascists. We'll force this shit on you. Look what they did with abortion. They're going to do it with Social Security. Medicare? Oh yeah. You better believe it. The minute they get enough power to do it, it is gone. It is gone. They've told you over and over and over again. It is gone. I'm telling you, folks, this is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. We have to do the work. We have to get out and vote. You have to get out and vote. Yes, the reality on the ground is not what the corporate media is putting out there. Yes, we Democrats are going to clean house. But not if you don't show up. If you don't show up, you get a dictatorship. If you stay home and you don't cast your vote this election, you get a dictatorship. You never get a real election again. That is fact. That is truth. Well, folks, we've got some other stuff going on in the world. Some of it just cracks me the hell up. Some of it is sad. Let's go to something funny here for a second. Folks, I've left Apple. I used to be a big Apple guy. I did. I loved iPhones. I loved Apple products. One of the best gifts I ever bought, Mrs. Texas Paul, knocked it out of the park. Bought her a MacBook Pro several years ago. She loved that thing. She uses a PC now. She loved that thing. But we've left Apple. We have. I've got Samsung phones now. She's on her last Apple phone. She's on her it's slowly dying on her. She's having more and more problems with it. It's at the end of its lifespan. Her next phone will likely be an Android. Because Apple's just lost touch, man. They just have lost touch. And if you don't believe me, take a look at this. They believe they've gone all in on virtual reality headsets. And they have released a new virtual reality headset that they believe is going to be the future of everything. And it's not. It is not. It's $3,499 for their VR headset. That in of itself, duh. Who has 3,500? Folks, I don't have $3,500 to put into a virtual reality headset. I do not. Do you? I want to know. This is live chat. We're going into the discussion portion of it. Yeah, for virtual reality goggles, do you have $3,499 to spend on a set of these? No. And look at these things. Look at these things. I want you to see this. If the price tag wasn't enough to let you know that Apple has lost their damn minds. This is one of the videos that's gone absolutely viral. This is from Morning Brew. What? Watch this. This is freaking hilarious. Watch this. If you don't understand why. Yeah, one more time. That's a guy out in the wild with his $3,499 VR headsets. See, the whole thing that Apple believes is that we're going to wear these all the time now. And it's going to be part of stores are going to have virtual reality kiosks and signs and sales and stuff. And you're going to walk around in public wearing those birth control goggles. No, nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. I mean, you're going to get a couple fanboys. Christopher looks like he needs a tinfoil hat too. No kidding, right? No kidding. I mean, it's freaking hilarious, man. It is freaking hilarious. And Apple has spent ungodly amounts of money on this. They've got a complete operating system. They're out there trying to sell to retailers right now. Hey, put your ads in our virtual reality headsets that we're going to sell to people for $3,499. And we're going to, birth control glasses. No. Pat Whelan says $3,500 to experience something that is free if you just get up and go outside. Amen. But let me ask you something. I mean, look, people, all people, normal people, all people, we have a bit of vanity to us. We do. It's baked into the cake. It is. You know, I didn't buy a good looking hat that I thought was good looking because I don't have a little vanity. Of course I've got vanity, some vanity. We all do. Could you imagine some pretty little 16, 17-year-old girl shopping at L&M that's going to wear these? No. This is not going to be a retail thing. It's just not. Just to show you that corporations that can be as smart as Apple can be, that has all the resources in the world, literally, Apple has tons of cash on hand. I don't know why they maintain as much cash on hand as they do. Most corporations do not. But they have got massive amount. I don't even remember what the last count is, but it grows exponentially. The amount of cash on them they have. They really thought this was the future. No. If they couldn't sell Google glasses that look like glasses, they aren't selling these, man. Anyways, that's from the latest thing from stupid corporate America. This is an update on what's going on with the Houthis and in Iran and Iraq. If you haven't been paying attention to what's going on over there, Iran has terrorist groups that they work with and fund and arm and train. One of them launched a missile attack at an airbase, one of our air bases in Jordan. This is a U.S. air base in Jordan. Yes, we have bases in Syria. We have bases in northern Iraq. We have bases in Jordan. We have bases all over. So all the nonsense that you hear on the news about these countries don't get along with it, it's nonsense. We have military bases that they invite us to have there. An Iranian-backed group attacked a Jordanian military base and killed 3 U.S. soldiers. And we knew there was going to be reprisals for that. You don't just get to kill. There's no free ticket to killing U.S. soldiers. So there have been a new wave of attacks. We hit targets in Iraq. We hit targets in Syria. We hit targets in Yemen. We are still debilitating these groups and their ability to fight. We're destroying every radar station there is. They will not have any modern capability to fight. They will only have dumb rockets, which you cannot fight with us using dumb rockets. You just can't. We're beyond that now. Warfare's moved beyond stupid warfare. And yeah, it's going to be prolonged, folks. I just need you to prepare for that. This is not going to be over anytime soon. Iran will continue to give these people radar installations. They will continue to give them rockets. They will continue, and we will destroy them over and over and over and over again. And we have the support of the nations there. This is being done with Jordan's blessing. This is being done with Saudi Arabia's blessing. This is being done with, so yeah, the little pasty Midwesterner kid that bought the mail order kefir that's on TikTok that suddenly deemed himself a foreign policy expert, didn't know shit The Middle East was not going to rise up against America. And no, they're all good with this. They are. They're really okay with this. They know what we're doing in Syria. They know our history. They know we're the worst colonizers ever. We don't come in and just claim shit as our own. So yeah, but I do need to prepare you for this, folks. This isn't going to be a quick thing. And yes, you're going to hear stuff. The Republicans are already attacking President Biden for this attack. He said, why did he wait 5 days? Because one, he's not a general. He's a president. He doesn't claim to be formulating war plans. He lets the people that know what the hell they are doing handle these situations. That's why they're successful. And B, weather. He waited 5 days for weather. Weather was not conducive to bombing campaigns. It was not. So they waited until the campaign had appropriate weather and would be more successful, which took about 5 days. But no, Republicans are running all over the hill. Well, Biden, he telegraphed this. If he really wanted it, this wasn't even real. If they didn't really want it, if they wanted high value targets, they wouldn't have even warned them. They'd have just done it immediately. Yeah. And when bombers started falling out of the sky because of weather, what would you have said then, Republicans? But yeah, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. This will go on for a long time, folks. The Republicans, this is a unique opportunity. The Russians cannot put resources into this region like they once did. They just can't. We are depleting Iran without a boots on the ground war in Iran. It's being fought smartly. It is. There will be repercussions for Iran, but they're not going to say, look what we did. Look what we did. That Iranian shit that blew up, we done that. No, it's going to be a group out of Pakistan that does it. I promise you. I promise you. They are working their asses off and doing this, and they're doing it right. They're just doing it right. And Republicans are going to scream it's the wrong thing. Yep, kind of like D-Day. Appropriate planning, appropriate. Gregory, remind me again about this. I'm having a brain lock. I don't know about you. Every once in a while, I get a brain lock. Somebody asks me a question. Give me a little bit more than that, my man. So that's the news I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to share the money shot with you. I wanted to do an AMA with you. We'll have a roundtable discussion. This is what I did last week. You could tell I was traveling incognito. One, because I've been to Roatan before. If you've never been to Roatan, it's going to rain. And I don't wear my hat in the rain. I don't like to put a diaper on it, and I don't. I'd like to introduce you to Flash. On my social media, I actually I said this was Sophia. This is not Sophia. This was Flash. Flash and Sophia are a couple beautiful sloths. I got a sloth cup too, by the way. I want to show you. Let me stop sharing the picture of Flash there. I got a sloth cup too. And you know me, I collect cups. That was amazing. That was one of the best days of my life. It really was. You would not believe what they think we're trees. They do. I had a long, prolonged conversation with the folks that run the place. It's just the way I am. I talk to people. It's what I do. And I looked around, and this place was special. There are places like this popping up all over Roatan because people love it. They really do. It brings in money to the local communities. These are a bunch of young guys that care for injured animals. It's a rescue. It is. Somebody gets hurt, one of the animals get hurt, they'll bring it in, they'll care for it. And then, let me share another picture with you so you can get an understanding. Guinea pigs. Guinea pigs breed like crazy all over this damn island. I want you to notice, see that door right there? Can you see that door? These are guinea pigs, like the kind you buy at the pet store. This door never closed the entire time we were there. And those guinea pigs went nowhere. They started out with like 5 or 6 of them, but they keep breeding and they just keep taking care of them. They don't know what to do with them. So they just keep taking care of them. They keep getting more and more and more of them. But yeah, they know the handlers, but they wouldn't come out. They're like, we're good. We're okay. We're taken care of. We're good. They could split anytime they wanted. There is no way to stop these guys. To stop these guys if they wanted to leave. That door was wide open. They're like, we're good. We're good. They actually had to go in and bring them out. You see, there's one sitting by the door there. Somebody that was holding it put it down, and they just sat there for a minute and then back in the. That's the kind of place this is. You can tell by the way the animals react if they're being well taken care of. If they're, you know what I'm saying? This place was amazing. It was really amazing. But yeah, I had a great time. Had a hilarious thing happen there. They take care of, and yeah, forgive me, I don't remember the names of all these different specific names. I know a monkey when I see a monkey. Colleen, I appreciate the support. I really do. I know a monkey when I see a monkey, and they kept telling us the name of it, and I can't remember. Somebody in the you audience, you guys are the best. You know everything. What the hell kind of monkey is this? They're native down there. And they take care of them. This little guy just chose me. I'm the biggest guy in the group. I'm a big guy, right? That was a full-grown sloth you see me holding. Everybody says, oh, it's a baby sloth. That ain't a baby sloth. That's a full-grown sloth. I'm just a big guy. I am. This little fellow right here was the smallest of the bunch in the monkey in the monkey enclosure. He just decided I'm his protection. He's good. He hanging with me the whole time, and decided to go ahead and groom my hair. I think I got a picture of me after he got done with me. Yeah. Made sure I didn't have any ticks on me, any fleas on me or anything like that. He just, made sure I was all good. You take a look at my hair when I'm done. He just went through. I looked like a mess when I was done. But it was a blast. But the most hilarious thing in the world happened. Oh, my God. And I can't share the picture because, Mrs. Texas Paul, she's a very private person. She is. But 2 of the big monkeys, the bigger monkeys, about twice the size of that little guy, decided Mrs. Texas Paul was theirs. They both claimed her as their property. She was their territory. And good Lord, it turned into a monkey gang fight. Oh my God. One minute she's sitting there, she's got a monkey sitting on her head. Just, this is my territory, this is mine, she's mine. Next thing you know, it's like monkeys are like, she's screaming her head off. Oh my God, these monkeys were just, and they would jump off, grab a rope and swing back and land back on her. And oh my God, it was nobody got hurt, so it's funny. It's funny. Oh my God, it was, ask her, she's in the chat, ask her about it. She was freaking screaming. She was terrified, man. But they loved her to death. They did. They loved her. I don't know what everybody was in the group was kind of a little bit pissed off because, I don't know what it was because, everybody was supposed to get to hold a monkey and this, that, and the other. And these monkeys were like, oh no, we like her. We want her. And it was, oh man. One of them tried to grab her necklace and take off. She put her hand over it, which so her engagement ring was right there. And another monkey's like, oh, sparkly. Tried to grab her engagement ring. No, they didn't. No, Kelly, they didn't throw crap at anybody. They didn't. They were that I think that's a bit of a wives' tale. That they didn't do that, but they loved on everybody. They really did. It was a great time. It was a great time. These were and these are juveniles. The adults are much more aggressive. These are the juveniles, the young ones we got to hang with. It was great. It was really great. But I have a bit of a story for you here that ties more to news. Hang with me on this. I know everybody here hates to hear about everybody else's vacation. I want to introduce you to somebody. This is Jackass. I want you to notice something about this picture. Okay, this is Jack. I call him Jackass. He's got a name, starts with a B. I don't remember what it is. But you see over here, this is Bert. You see, when I tell you these animals have free reign, we're inside where the show is. This is not like they're captured in there. Bert and Rosa and Jackass here, they just hang around. And when it's showtime, they come around. Jackass is the first one in the enclosure. And Bert and Rosa, now they're a mated pair. Macaws mate for life. They do. If one of the spouses dies, they'll commit suicide. They will. They'll go find a nook in a tree and hang themselves. They'll rip their own feathers out. They're completely traumatized. Jackass here never mated with anybody. They got him. He was injured. Had the crap beat out of him by some mature parrots. So they got him very young. He's never mated with anybody. He's like a third wheel. Bert and Rosa get it. They know their jobs, man. They've been around people. They've been handled by people their whole lives. They get it, right? So they know what their job is. We file into this place. You see Rosa's little feather there, her little tail feather right there. She's already making friends with everybody. She's actually freaking some people out because she just starts walking around. That's her job. That's Bert's job, is they walk around and they climb on people. And the young guy, and they're all young guys, great senses of humor, mess with me continuously. I don't know why. I guess it happens to me a lot because I'm usually a bit bigger than everybody else. I'm usually a few inches taller. I'm just a big guy. I am. So they decided they were going to screw with me, like one of the local pigeons. Hey, all right. Awesome. Actually 1,639 watching right now. Love it. Audience is growing every week. But yeah, they know even the locals, because like I said, these macaws are free to move around. I guess they're telling the locals or whatever. A pigeon comes in and joins them, and they'll get wild. And they warned us about that. When the show starts, be careful because macaws can hurt you. They're big, strong-beaked birds. We may get some wild macaws that join us, but here's Bert and Rosa, and whatever the other. I can't commit his name to memory. I just call him Jackass. He's also part of the group. We're trying to train him. Not working at all. Not working at all. Let me show you another picture, and this is why it's not working. This is why it's not working. Because Jackass is self-taught. See what Jackass is doing right here? See my maroon shirt? Yeah, Jackass has figured out on his own that if he bites a tourist, they will then give him a handful of seeds to munch on to keep him busy. So he's not a jerk. So what does he do? Jackass's self-taught trick is to bite people. And he bit the shit out of me twice. I mean, he left marks, man. I mean, he bit the living shit out of me twice. Because they will keep giving him seeds to distract him. Meanwhile, Bert and Rosa, They're out there working hard, doing their job, scaring the shit out of people. And I got to tell you, these young guys were freaking hilarious. The guys that ran this place, they were all in their 20s and early 30s. Hilarious. Rosa comes around, climbs on me, actually fins off Jackass. She's much bigger than Jackass. She's sitting on me. That jerk tells me, be careful. Be careful. You have blue eyes. You have blue. Everyone, I'm only the guy in the group that have blue eyes. He's like, you have blue eyes. Be careful. They think that there's gems. They'll try to take them. Bastard. I'm sitting there holding Rose out like this because, and he's laughing his ass off. They had fun with me. They did. They had fun with me. But it was a good, they were a good group of, that's the point of what I'm trying to tell you. They're a good group of people. They really were. I enjoyed it. Do this, folks. Take you a cruise. Pick your cruise line you like, whatever fits your vibe. Take a cruise down to Roatan. Check this shit out. Go see the sloths. You can do this. It's not that expensive. I want you to do this, folks. I do. It was life-changing, man. When Flash was there, holding on, smiling, this guy knew to smile for a cell phone. Self-taught. Not even kidding. Self-taught. You would hold up a picture. He'd be sitting there chilling, lay his head on me to chill. Somebody would hold a picture up to take a picture of him, and he would turn his head and smile. Change your life, man. Roatan Petrazi is an island off the coast of Honduras. Cruise ship companies go there. It does not have a crime problem. It is way off the shore of Honduras. It's not like going to Honduras proper. It's very different. A lot of Caribbean islands don't feel like Roatan feels. It's just laid back. You would not feel unsafe. If your taxi broke down in Roatan and you had to like walk somewhere, you would not feel unsafe at all. It's great. It really is. Check that out sometime. Check it out sometime. All the major cruise lines go there. They do. But my point is, I wanted to talk to you about Jackass for a second, because this is a story that really fits the Middle East. Roatan, I should say Jackass, my initial nickname for him was Hamas. Because that's what he is. He's a little terrorist. He's a self-taught terrorist. Bert and Rosa, they figured this out. They know their job. They hang out with the tourists. They take some pictures. They get seeds. And because they do that, people come visit. I mean, who the hell wouldn't love a full-grown, macaws are huge, people. When they're full-grown, healthy birds allowed to grow in their own environment, not in a cage, macaws are big. You know, they warned us, if any of the wild macaws come, don't touch them. They're not Bert and Rosa. They're not used to people. They will take a finger off. They will. They'll take a finger off. They're that big. The beaks are like this freaking big, man. I mean, they're huge. But Bert and Rosa doing their thing, man. They would walk from person to person. And you'd hold your arm out. They would sit there. You'd take pictures. They'd move their head around. And, you know, they knew their job. The owner of the place, he reminded me of Israel. He's passing seeds out to everybody. When Jackass would get out of hand, he'd swat at Jackass to discourage him. But you know what's going to happen? And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to bring the mood down. Everyone was having such a great time. You know what's going to happen? Jackass is going to really hurt somebody. He is. He's going to take an eye. He's going to take somebody's finger off. He's getting bigger and bigger every day. And he's trained. Hurt somebody, get food. Yeah, fingers. Yeah. He's figured this out. And because these guys are young, they really haven't figured out what they're doing with him. They're keeping him with Bert and Rosa, to hoping that he'll figure out that people are good and this, and then they'll have a third macaw that likes people and will hang out. No, they're teaching him with every single group that goes through, hurt somebody and get paid. And that, my friends, is Hamas. That's Hamas in a nutshell. That is what they are. Jackass doesn't care about Bert and Rosa. Jackass doesn't care about where he lives. He doesn't care what the results. He wants his goddamn seeds. And he'll hurt somebody to get them. And that, to me, was the perfect example of what Hamas is. And when Jackass hurts somebody badly, that will be the end for everything, because this is Roatan. This is not the United States where you'll have this solved in court or whatever. When Jackass hurts a tourist and it makes the rounds on YouTube, they will shut this place down. Police officers with machine guns will show up, and that will be the end of this. Those guinea pigs will die. The macaws will, because they have value, will be taken away and given to somebody else. The monkeys will die because they are all over the place. The sloths, I don't know. There's a lot of sloths down there. Flash and Sophia might make it. And these young guys are doing what they think is right. They had a hurt bird that they nursed back to health. They think that if they just keep working with it and keep working with it, just like the people that keep telling you to negotiate with Hamas, we don't have to have war, we don't have to hurt people, just negotiate with the bird. Well, the negotiations make him worse. They make him worse because he gets paid for hurting people, and that's what he knows. And that's what he knows. And if that group does not take a deep breath and take a good swallow and realize Jackass has to go, whatever that means, and that hard decision of this macaw that they absolutely love, because Jackass doesn't act that way with his handlers. It's going to cost them everything. It's going to cost them everything. It is. And I thought that was another good analogy that fit. Nobody wants this stuff that's going on with these terrorist groups in Iraq or anywhere. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Yeah, MAGA, here. But if we don't make some hard decisions about getting rid of these groups, yeah, it's going to cost us everything eventually. So let's take a few minutes and have a real roundtable. We haven't had one in a while. Throw anything out there. Whatever you'd like to talk about, questions about the vacation, anything you want, I'll answer everything as honestly as I can. Let's see if we can get some good questions out there. And again, thank you for the orders that we got while we were gone. We will get those filled immediately. Midas has already been in touch with me. They've given me a couple subjects they'd like me to talk on. We'll have some new videos coming out for Midas. Got some great guests coming in next to the week. Is the Jack Smith case dead? No, not at all. Judge Chutkan did the. If you don't know, Judge Chutkan put the end to that case. Didn't rule, didn't come up with a judgment, but it would be irresponsible to keep the case tied up in her court, taking up resources and whatnot in her court with this decision pending in the Supreme Court. So she has suspended that case. That's all it is. Once the decisions are made, they will run through the process. There will be no delays. This is something that every legal expert expected. It's because Judge Schutkins is a real judge. She is. She's not fame seeking. She's not trying to do anything special for herself there. She's just a judge doing her job. So yeah, no, it is not. Do I think the NFL is rigged? No, I don't. If the NFL was rigged, a team like Kansas City would never make the Super Bowl. Kansas City is not a large city. Buffalo you would never see Buffalo in the playoffs. Buffalo is not a big town. It is not. So no, I don't think that the NFL is rigged. Where did the ship leave from, and how many ports did you hit? Left from Galveston, because it's only a few hours from my house, and we hit 3 ports. We hit Roatan, Costa Maya, Mexico, and Cozumel. Cozumel, if you're familiar with it, you will be shocked. I will tell you, that broke my heart. It really did. Cozumel used to be one of my favorite places to cruise to, because again, the feeling, everything was so laid back. It was so cool. COVID did a number on will Taylor Swift win the Super Bowl. That's who I'm hoping for. Be honest with you, Kansas City. I'm pulling for Kansas City. God love you, 49ers people, and God bless you. But I'm rooting for Kansas City. No, but what we're talking about, Cozumel. COVID did a number on Cozumel. We don't know, when you go to Cozumel, there's a lot of places you can go to. There's Carlos and Charlie's, there's Mr. Sancho's, there's this new place, Paradise Beach, that's well, it's not really new, it's been around forever, but it's newly discovered. It's a place, these all-inclusive places that you can go to for the day that are really great. They're fantastic. What we always like to do was just do some shopping in town. We would walk through town. It's a mess. So many shops closed down in Cozumel. So many shops. We went to this one mall that we would always walk to, and half to maybe more than half were actually just empty. It was gone. And this was with 6 cruise ships in port. It was just gone. And because of the financial situation there, because folks, not everybody's recovered like we have. America is doing really freaking great after COVID. That's not happening worldwide. Because you could just feel the economic anxiety. The sales pitches were really over the top, very, very freaking aggressive. It was something, man. It was different, a very different feel. The only thing I bought there was a wallet, and we hightailed it back to the port. It just did not. I had a guy offer me a hooker in front of my wife. That's never happened in Cozumel. Never has anybody ever made an off-color comment or anything like that. But yeah, Cozumel is really, if you sail to Cozumel, it is beautiful. Quintana Roo, Mexico is beautiful. It is gorgeous. I would suggest right now, as things are, skip downtown, go to one of the resorts, go to Carlos and Charlie's, go to places like that. Mr. Sancho's, enjoy. With the House separating Israeli, be ready to bring that comment back up, please. With the House separating Israeli-Ukraine aid, does that mean Ukrainian aid is DOA? Ukrainian aid is dead until the Republicans start to panic. Republicans have fealty to Putin and Russia. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. And if they think they can kill Ukrainian aid, they will hold it off as long as humanly possible. The good news is Europe, ask our friends in the chat. We have European friends in the chat. Ask them about supporting Ukraine. It is nearly unanimous. They do not want that war spreading across Europe. They don't. So it is bad that we are not able to get our shit together, but this administration will do other things. Think training exercises. We'll get equipment there. We will. Even if it means Jolly Green Giants are delivering it to do training exercises with the Ukrainian military. Something will happen. We will figure out a way to support Ukraine in this. But yeah, Republicans are traitors. They are traitors. They support our enemy. Don't ever forget it. Noah C. says, Texas Paul, I've been meaning to ask you for a while now. When Joe Biden wins the election in November and MAGA claims that it was stolen and inevitably turns to violence, how will we ever snuff them out? Noah, we will never, ever, ever get to a zero-sum game. We will never get to a zero-sum game with MAGA. We won't. Donald Trump, when he loses this next election, will still maintain a core of support. He just will. But they will be so diminished. It's a rule in politics. It is. It's a rule in politics. People don't follow losers. And Trump's a loser. He had a harder hill to climb this time than he did in the last election because he's a loser. It's really difficult for a loser to come back in politics. A two-time loser is done. You are done. The violence the government will handle, the police will handle. We will have to be safe and prudent, but yeah, they're about to meet reality. It's like this trucker convoy had all these delusions about they were going to go down there with their AR-15s in the back of their car and they were going to take care of this border situation. Got there, couldn't find the border situation. Reality will rein these people in. Question. Susan Thompson has a question. Do you feel the judicial system is failing us, mishandling Trump's case? Yes. Yes, I do. 100%. We need to really think about this. We have it. I mean, folks, you are some of the smartest people I know. We have a dual situation. We have a justice system that is unfair and harsh and brutal. And then on the other end of it, if you've got money and a little bit of fame and can afford the lawyers, we've got a justice system that will, it acts so slowly. So, I mean, they take such care not to, make a mistake or trample your rights. Meanwhile, over here, you've got people just being rammed through the system on a rail car. So yeah, it's really hard to come up with a fix. Do you want a system that's more aggressive? Well, what about these people over here that the system is already way too aggressive for? This is going to take some really smart people. There's going to be a post-mortem on the situation. Goddamn Donald Trump for making us even have to have these conversations. But there's going to be a post-mortem on this that's going to say, we got to figure out some way to make this happen quicker. Why do I think, I hope that answers your question. Why do I think Tucker Carlson is in Russia? Because he's a traitor and they are working on their election plans. Russia has phenomenal resources. They understand people. They understand propaganda. They have been studying us. They have propaganda prepared. The way the right wing works is they attack something and they repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over, and they all stay on message. Tucker's getting the message. Tucker's getting the heads up. He's not being specifically told the terroristic things that Russia is planning, but Russia has already planned things in the future. They're going to attack another European country. It'll be something like that. They're going to escalate in Ukraine, from Ukraine to another country. They're going to. Something like that. Tucker's being prepared to have his network of right-wing, Candace Owens and Jack Posobiec and all these are prepared to blast out. It's like, think about after October 7th, the attacks in Israel, how social media was just inundated immediately with all of this messaging. That's what's happening right now. That's what's going on. Tucker Carlson is being prepared for that next wave of messaging. Tony Catalano, I hope that answers your question. Tony Catalano says, do you think the RNC is ever going to wonder if Trump is ripping them off so bad that they will step back from supporting him? This is the GOP situation. The GOP knows what makes their coalition. And you've got the racists and the religious nuts and the Q nutters. They love Trump. The GOP would love to be rid of Trump. I mean, do you think, really, if you are a GOP fundraiser, are you really waking up to all of this news? Trump just got sued again by E. Jean Carroll, had to pay her $83 million because he frickin' sexually assaulted her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. I mean, you think they're digging that? Nah. There's an element within the Republican Party that would give a testicle to be rid of Trump. But they can't. They can't. Because the racists, your bigots, your lowest of people within the Republican Party love this frickin' guy because he tells them blatantly and openly it's okay that you're racist. It's okay that you publicly whine that you're a victim. And I will hurt the people you want hurt because of whatever's broken inside you. That's what Trump has. And the question is, how? If you're the Republican, how do you rid yourself of Trump? Other than feed that fucker burgers every damn day and pray for the heart attack. I mean, how do you rid yourself of them? Because if they do anything as a party, they're dead. They lose their coalition. They are less than 20% of the electorate if they do that. They're done. So they're bent over. They have to do this with Trump. They want Nikki Haley so freaking bad. Are you kidding me? A woman of color? Oh, they want to run her so bad. They do. They can't. They can't. And before Trump gets done, half their coalition will hate the sight of Nikki Haley. I hope that answers your question. Bradsky, will Trump be disqualified from holding? Yes. It's the law, man. It is the Constitution. It is the law. And he will be kicked off the ballot in state after state after state after state. Watch the ruling that's going to come up here this week. Watch the ruling. It will be a roadmap. This fight isn't over. I don't think Colorado's going to get their way. They'll find an excuse. I think it is what I think it is what I'm saying it is. They're going to say that being the representative of the Republican Party is not holding an office, so you can't bar him from running for that. But once he is the Republican nominee, he's running for a federal office. At that point, that's when you can bar him. I think there'll be that kind of minutia that the Supreme Court will try to use. Something like that. But no, yeah, he will be barred, especially in blue states, man. They will follow the freaking law. They will kick him off the ballot. It won't matter because it's a blue state. He wasn't going to win them anyways. But yeah, he'll be kicked off the ballot in several states. William G. Atheist number 1 says, from an outsider, Americans have one party, the Democrats, and they have to run against a right-wing. Yeah, that's true. 100%. That is 100% true, because if you think about what's left of the Republican Party, if you take away the Trumpers and the racists and the worst of the Republican Party, you have a party that's left that has a fealty to the Republican frat boy club. That is all they do: tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. We want our rich people to have more money because they send us checks. The Republican Party's done. It's done. Zuni, that's a good question. I've actually read it's Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It is only a paragraph about that long. Google it and read it. It is not like other sections. Like, the problem we have with the Second Amendment is they left it really freaking vague. They did not do this. This was written after the Civil War. They knew who their target was when they wrote Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. They knew who their enemy was, and they wrote this very specifically to who it entails, who it applies to. It's a well-written amendment, section to an amendment. It really is. Go back and read it. Just Google Section 3 of the 14th Amendment and read it. It's only about that long. Margaret Scupa says, do you think we'll ever remove those from Congress who supported the... Yeah. Folks, there was a time, I'm old enough to remember, when we Democrats dominated. I mean, dominated the political landscape. That changed. The pendulum swung. People changed. It will happen again. It is happening right now. People are looking at the Republican Party and this 2025 project. They're looking at their obvious hypocrisy when it comes to the Constitution, their ridiculous positions on guns, even an issue that is a winner among their voters. Go ahead and bring that back up. I'll get to it, I promise. Yeah, the Republican Party is just freaking dissolving in front of our eyes. It's truly something to behold. History is never fixed. It's always swinging. It's always moving back and forth. And we're seeing that pendulum move back to the left. Now, your job, and let me sum this up this way. Your job, when the pendulum swung right, those radical groups and the most right, they pulled really freaking hard, man, to move our political center as far right as they possibly could. As that pendulum swings left, they're going to do everything they can to slow it, to prevent it from going as far left as they can. Your job, if you're seeing me and hearing my voice, your job is when that pendulum starts to swing your direction, don't get comfortable. Don't quit. Don't let the Democratic Party say, okay, we're going to give you 80% of what you want and we're all good. No. Being a ride or die Democrat is fighting for what you believe in every single primary, and you pull as hard as you frickin' can your direction, and you move that pendulum as far left as you can. That is your frickin' job. When that primary is over, you vote Democrat. That's what it means to be a ride or die Democrat. To answer your question, when Trump loses in November, will he go to prison? He may go to prison before November. I don't have a crystal ball on that one. He may go to prison before November. Glenn Ulrich, 200 pesos, man. That's a lot of scratch, dude. In today's exchange rate, that is a lot of scratch, man. Howdy, Paul. What will it take to abolish the Electoral College? Jesus Christ to come back, walk up to the Capitol, and demand it. You're talking about a constitutional election, constitutional issue that has to pass every single state and go through the entire process, and it's not going to happen. These small states are never going to give that power up. Never. Once we gave it to them, they got it. Politically, just realistically, the political landscape, that would be hard. I would cry like a little girl if we succeeded on that one. I would. But yeah, politically, just the landscape we have, that would be a really hard one to get done. Cassidy Johnson says, folks need to prepare for the fact that there is a good chance Trump will get reelected. Nah, he's not. He's not. He's really not going to get reelected. He really isn't. But you need to vote like he is. Because let me tell you, you know what's on the line. You know what's on the line. And it's all about whether you show up or not. That's one of the things we're going to talk about Dr. Bitterkoffer with on Friday. Yeah. Whether you show up or not is it. That's the only question. That's the only question. Christopher Garcia says, at Wildfire, welcome. Texas Paul is a great show. Much to learn every week. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Texas Paul, do you play guitar? I used to play. I don't play so much anymore. I've got arthritic hands. You see that little finger there kind of turning this, that, and the other. It's very hard for me to actually push things down. I'm good for about 2 minutes. And then you start getting a lot of dead notes and stuff like that because I can't really push down on the frets like I should, between the frets like I should. So yeah, used to, that's a good answer. Used to play a little bit. Just for fun, not like professionally or anything like that. Just for fun, just as a hobby. Oh, a lot of good comments. A lot of great comments out there. Forgive me for looking down. I'm actually going through reading some of the comments and getting some help pulling them up. Dennis and Jan H says, everyone, just a reminder to check your voter registration. Make sure it is still current. We checked ours and plan on checking on it several times before November. That is outstanding advice, Dennis and Jan. Outstanding. Let me tell you something. Republicans know they are hurting. Last night, let me tell you, the world is quaking on the Republican side after South Carolina. I want you to imagine, think about the amount of money they put into trying to weaken Joe Biden within the Republic, and it's failed miserably. Miserably, it failed. Folks, there are come to Jesus meetings happening right now within the Republican Party, and they are not going to give up. They've already showed you they don't give a shit about the Constitution. They don't. January 6th should be an eye-opener for you how far Republicans and Republican voters are willing to go, and their radical groups like the Oath Keepers and the Praetorian Guard people that for some reason got a pass on January 6th. The 3%ers, all those people, man, be prepared for how far Republicans are willing to cheat in this next election. You must stay on top of your voter registration. You must have a plan for if you show up on election day and they tell you, you're not on the rolls. What do you do then? What is your local laws? What do you do then? You get on the phone and you call your local Democratic Party and you tell them what happened. But first, you demand a provisional ballot. You fill that ballot out. You make sure your ballot is in there. Then after the election, you cure your ballot. You go back. A lot of people don't even know that. They think, election day is it. No, that's not true. That's not true. If they disqualify you, you fill out a provisional ballot, you can cure your ballot. You can go back after the fact and say, you wrongfully disqualified me. My vote will be counted. Here's my proof. Have a plan for that, folks. Have a plan for that. Christian says, Texas Paul, do you think a new GOP party would stand a chance against MAGA? Not around somebody like Adam Kinzinger. No, he's a good guy. He's former, military. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad guy. But he's a windsock. He voted with the Republicans like 98% of the time. He is just as bad and broken as the rest of the GOP. Do I think there's room for a new conservative party? Sure. After this next election, MAGA is going to be decimated. All these come lately people that it's already happening. Nobody shut up down at the border. It's supposed to be this big old bad thing happening down here. We support Texas. We behind Texas. Where you at, man? Where you at? Because you ain't here. You running your mouth on X-Chan. That's where you at. When we kick their ass in this next election, you show up. You will change America forever for the better. And I don't just mean with your political ideology and your goals. I'm talking about you will actually make the Republican Party a better party by handing them a huge frickin' loss, because these come lately folks that have suddenly made politics their entertainment, their new, we're better than they are. I live in a trailer house, but I believe that I'm going to be a new corporate raider one day. Therefore, I'm going to vote that way. People will fall out of the process. They'll fall out of the process. And in amount of time, they will actually be recruitable eventually. But yeah, you will change the Republican Party. It will end as the Republican Party. It happens every once in a while in a democracy, folks. It's happened repeatedly through our history. It'll happen again. Geraldine, Texas Paul, I'm in Texas. Will we ever turn blue? Yes, we will. We will. Sooner than you think. We're already a blue state politically. But the Republicans have this. Texas Republicans are special people. They are special people. They will humiliate themselves saying the stupidest things out loud. And when you have somebody that committed, man, they're going to show up, and they're going to show up every time. And part of building a movement like here in Texas is getting a social movement. And I've been trying to change Texas. We have to be more combative as Democrats, because that's what we're going to face. When we get to that point where it's like, hey, come out and be a Democrat, come out and rally with us, you're going to get people that attack us and they will scream at you, queer lover. You queer lover. You're going to hear that shit, man. And you got to be able to fight back. And people like me, this is what I do, folks. This is what I do. I give you ammunition, short catch lines to throw back at these sons of bitches. And once we start doing that fighting, you will see the voter apathy among the Democrat left here in Texas vanish. But it means being bold, being brash, taking your fact bat, going out and giving speeches and saying, we're gonna kick shit out of these some bitches. We're not just gonna win, we're gonna hurt them. That's what it means. Somebody just posted on here, Michael Thomas always has great comments. Loved Ann Richards. There's a lot of things you can say about Ann Richards, but humble was not one of them. She spoke directly. She was very proud. She was very Texas. I mean, she told George Bush directly, you're born with a silver foot in his mouth. I mean, that's the kind of thing you got to do to fight, man. You got to fight that way. LBJ. Let me tell you something about LBJ. LBJ would take a guy, a congressman, back when he was in the House, he would take a congressman when he was majority leader, would push somebody to the back of the hall. You know how Matt Gaetz gets out of line and somebody, you get that dude with the toupee. No. LBJ would come snatch a sumbitch out of a seat by his collar, take him to the back of the house, push him against the wall, twist his arm behind his back and say, look, you son of a bitch, I told you how to vote. And if you want to ever see any bill come through this house that even remotely benefits your district, you will do what the hell I told you to do. And he'd throw the sumbitch down on the floor. That really happened, folks. That's really happened more than once. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, we Democrats have to change. It's not in our nature to be mean. Because we all believe we all do better when we all do better. But you have got to be willing to punch somebody in the throat. You do. You just got to be able to punch somebody in the throat. You do. You got to be able to look at somebody with an AR-15 in their hands and say, well, look, you went out. You spent $1,200 on your AR-15 and you're still a dumbass. What now? You do. Just be that way, man. Well, look, guys. Yes. Thank you, Super Saint. Be Jasmine Crockett. Be young. Be beautiful. Be smart. Have your nails. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and say, that's the Democratic Party, man. That's how we turn Texas blue. 100%. Do it, man. That's why we're here. That's why we do this every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. To get good information and pump up. And look at who's, I mean, we already have Katie Porter. We already have great people. Gavin Newsom, he's no spring chicken, man. He is the establishment, man. But look at the next generation. What's coming up? Yeah, we Democrats, man, we need to be loud and proud. Very. Thank you, Margaret. I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I have been told that we have gone well over 2 hours and that my wife is hungry. So I have to bail on you folks. It's been wonderful to see you. It's really good to be back. I say this over and over again, and it's the goddamn truth. It really is. I talk to dumbasses. I talk to people that just will melt your soul hearing the stupid shit come out of there. Thanks for the support, Peter. I really appreciate you. Will just melt your soul with the stupid shit that comes out of their mouth. Sitting down with you folks, and this is why I look down so much. You will see me look down a lot during the show. I'm reading your comments and I'm watching the conversations. There will be parallel conversations going on while I'm talking because you people know what the fuck you're talking about. And I love you for it. And I thank you for it. And man, when I tell you, you keep me going, that's no bullshit. I hope you can hear the sincerity in my voice and how much I am truly grateful for you. Thank you. And it's been another wonderful time. And I will see you on Wednesday with Ike McCorkle, folks. Be here. Time to go. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.